Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, 1960, redefined horror and psychological thrillers, becoming one of the most iconic films in cinema history. But beyond the screen, the lives of many actors involved in this masterpiece were marked by tragedy. Several stars who once lit up the screen with their gripping performances later faced heartbreaking struggles, ranging from personal loss and mental health battles to untimely deaths that shocked fans and friends alike. In this post, we delve into the real-life tragedies behind the classic, honoring the psycho actors we've lost and shedding light on the somber stories hidden behind the film's haunting legacy. Anthony Perkins was born on April 4, 1932, and played Norman Bates in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 28. Norman was soft-spoken and courteous, but underneath lay a fractured mind dominated by a murderous maternal persona. Perkins' haunting performance mirrored a real-life identity crisis. Desperately closeted in an unforgiving era, he reportedly underwent psychotherapy to cure his homosexuality and engaged in covert affairs with men, including tab hunter and choreographer Grover Dale. His eventual marriage to photographer Barry Berenson was seen by many as a calculated cover. Behind the scenes, he was described as intensely neurotic and obsessive, reportedly rewriting his lines without permission and isolating himself from co-stars. Rumors persisted that Hitchcock found him too delicate and nearly recast him mid-production. Perkins also battled anxiety and disordered eating, allegedly living off apples and milk for weeks. The biggest secret of all came at the end. He had his AIDS diagnosis for years, fearing it would tarnish his image. He died on September 12, 1992, at age 60 from complications related to AIDS. Simon Oakland was born on August 28, 1915, and played Dr. Fred Richmond in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 45. Richmond was the cold, analytical psychiatrist whose emotionless dissection of Norman Bates' madness left audiences both enlightened and unsettled. Oakland, a classically trained violinist before turning to acting, had a volatile temperament behind his calculated authority. Known in Hollywood circles for his frequent outbursts and icy on-set demeanor, he once stormed off a production after accusing a director of artistic ignorance. Despite a marriage that endured, whispers circulated of extramarital affairs with aspiring actresses he mentored, often leading to casting favors. His obsession with perfection made him difficult to work with. One co-star described him as brilliant but unbearable. Oakland's battle with colon cancer was kept secret for years, during which he reportedly became reclusive and paranoid, convinced studio heads were sabotaging him. He died on August 29, 1983, at the age of 68 from colon cancer. John Gavin was born on April 8, 1931, and played Sam Loomis in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 29. Sam was dependable and logical, serving as the film's moral anchor. Gavin's on-screen charm masked a volatile off-camera presence. Though groomed by Universal as a Rock Hudson replacement, Gavin resented his typecasting and often clashed with directors, once walking off a set over creative differences that insiders say were more ego than vision. He infamously turned down Midnight Cowboy, calling it degenerate, a decision that haunted his career. Hollywood insiders whispered of his cold ambition and political rigidity. He was unapologetically conservative, even while Reagan rewarded him with an ambassadorship. Fellow actors described him as stiff and elitist, with one producer branding him impossible to warm up to. Though he maintained a scandal-free exterior, many suspected his public image was just that, image. John Gavin died on February 9, 2018, at 86 from complications of pneumonia. Janet Leigh was born on July 6, 1927, and portrayed Marion Crane in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 33. Marion was daring yet doomed, stealing money and sealing her fate in the shower that changed film history. Leigh's scream became legendary, but her off-screen story was far less glamorous. Her marriage to Tony Curtis was riddled with affairs, fights, and jealousy. Curtis admitted to cheating constantly and even claimed she had a brief affair with Frank Sinatra. Though Leigh projected grace, insiders said she was deeply insecure, plagued by perfectionism and a desperate need for approval. She reportedly feuded with Hitchcock over nudity, and rumors swirled of a frosty set dynamic. Leigh also suffered from lasting trauma after filming Psycho, refusing to take showers for decades. Despite her polished interviews, friends noted she drank heavily in private and became estranged from several family members over the years. Janet Leigh died on October 3, 2004, at age 77 from vasculitis. John McIntyre was born on June 27, 1907, and portrayed Sheriff Al Chambers in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 53. Chambers was steady and grounded, offering calm amidst chaos. McIntyre, too, exuded authority, but his real life was less clean-cut. Though known as a loyal family man, there were rumors he was fiercely controlling behind closed doors. A notorious chain smoker, McIntyre's gruff persona extended off-camera, where he was known for dismissing younger actors as amateurs and allegedly got into shouting matches with Psycho assistant directors over scheduling delays. His disdain for Hollywood politics kept him from A-list status, and though producers valued his voice and presence, many said he was too old school and resistant to change. Despite no public scandals, some insiders suggested his career was deliberately limited due to offset clashes. He remained fiercely private to the end. John McIntyre died on January 30, 1991, at age 83 from emphysema and lung cancer. Martin Balsam was born on November 4, 1919, and played Detective Arbogast in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 41. Arbogast was methodical and unrelenting, traits that mirrored Balsam's own reputation as a meticulous, demanding actor. But beneath his critical acclaim lay a troubled temperament. Known for erupting into tirades over minor script changes, Balsam was blacklisted from several productions for being unmanageable. Colleagues said he could turn from charming to cruel in seconds, and a bitter divorce from actress Joyce Van Patten over rumored infidelities and verbal abuse cemented his reputation as toxic genius. He often sabotaged his own career by rejecting roles he deemed beneath him, including parts that later won Oscars for others. Balsam's later years were marked by loneliness and declining health, with his once frequent roles dwindling to cameos. Though publicly respected, he was privately feared. Martin Balsam died on February 13, 1996, at age 76 from a stroke. Patricia Hitchcock was born on July 7, 1928, and was 32 when she played Caroline in Psycho, the chatty office co-worker with a nervous smile and nervous energy. While Caroline added lightness to the story, Patricia lived in her father Alfred Hitchcock's shadow, used more as a tool than an actress. Though she claimed to love her father, private letters revealed deep resentment. He limited her career, controlling her roles and public image. She was allegedly denied auditions outside his approval and quietly removed from credits on projects she consulted. Hollywood insiders noted that Patricia had a fierce temper and drank heavily in private, clashing with her mother Alma, who disapproved of Patricia's bohemian friends and rumored bisexuality. Though never embroiled in scandal publicly, Patricia's later years were spent trying to curate her father's legacy, many say in an attempt to gain the recognition she was denied. She died on August 9, 2021, from natural causes at age 93. Von Taylor was born on February 22, 1911, and was 50 when he played George Lowery in Psycho, the uptight, rule-bound boss whose stiff demeanor only added to Marion's anxiety. Taylor's on-screen control masked a man who battled lifelong insecurity and emotional fragility. Though known for playing professionals, he reportedly hated authority figures and often argued with directors who cast him in bureaucratic roles. Never married and deeply private, Taylor was the subject of persistent rumors about repressed sexuality, which may have contributed to his withdrawn personality and sharp mood swings on set. His fear of typecasting led him to reject several promising roles, one of which later earned another actor an Emmy. A quiet depressive, he was said to pace dressing rooms whispering monologues to himself well after rap. Few attended his funeral when he died on April 26, 1983, at the age of 73 from undisclosed causes. Francis DeSales was born on March 23, 1912, and portrayed Deputy District Attorney Alan Dietz in Psycho in 1960 at 48, albeit uncredited. His authoritative presence lent weight to the film's closing moments. On screen, he exuded class, but off-screen he fought quietly against personal demons. A closeted homosexual during an unforgiving era, DeSales lived in constant fear of exposure. He entered into a sham marriage in the early 40s to protect his image, which ended in quiet divorce. Friends described him as kind but emotionally exhausted, always watching his words. Whispers in the industry claimed he was once threatened with extortion by a former lover, causing him to retreat from leading roles. Though never publicly disgraced, he lived with deep paranoia and anxiety about his secret being exposed. His later years were marked by isolation, choosing only minor roles. He died of cancer on September 25, 1988, at age 76. Lorene Tuttle was born on August 29, 1907, and was 53 when she played Mrs. Chambers in Psycho, the sheriff's warm, concerned wife who provided brief moments of comfort amid the horror. While she projected grandmotherly warmth, Tuttle's personal life had sharp edges. A single mother after her brief and scandal-filled marriage to actor Melville Ruick, she quietly raised her daughter amid whispers of studio affairs and favoritism. A titan in radio, she famously clashed with producers and co-stars alike, once refusing to appear for a network read-through because the coffee was cheap and bitter. Privately, Tuttle wrestled with chronic insomnia and anxiety, and relied on pills to keep her nerves steady. She mentored young actresses, but some later accused her of emotional manipulation and favoritism. Despite the smiles, she never escaped the industry's ageism and spent her final years lobbying for roles that never came. She died from cancer on May 28, 1986, at age 78. Mort Mills was born on January 11, 1919, and appeared as the chilling highway patrol officer in Psycho in 1960 at age 41. His cold stare and silent menace set a tone of dread early in the film. Off-camera, Mills was typecast as lawman, but his real life was far murkier. In the early 1950s, he was arrested for public intoxication after a brawl in a Santa Monica bar, with studios quietly buried. He later developed a reputation as a heavy drinker, often showing up to set reeking of alcohol. One director allegedly replaced him mid-shoot but allowed his name to remain in the credits out of loyalty. Mills's wife left him after discovering his affair with a young co-star from a forgotten Western series. Though he tried to reinvent himself in theater, industry doors had begun to close. His health declined as he withdrew from public life. Mort Mills died of a heart attack on June 6, 1993, at the age of 74. John Anderson was born on October 20, 1922, and played California Charlie in Psycho in 1960 at the age of 38. Charlie, the wry and wary car dealer, provided a moment of tension that subtly hinted at Marion's unraveling plan. While Anderson was admired for his serious theater background and chameleon-like acting skills, behind the curtain, his personal life was tangled in secrecy. Twice divorced, Anderson was rumored to have fathered a child during a backstage affair in the 1950s, a child he never publicly acknowledged. Colleagues described him as brilliant but distant, often vanishing after productions without explanation. His obsession with Abraham Lincoln bordered on delusion. He sometimes spoke in Lincoln's voice off-set and insisted on being called Mr. President while preparing for roles. Some casting directors found him erratic and emotionally volatile, leading to quiet blacklisting from major studios during the late 60s. He battled deep depression and was hospitalized multiple times, though none of it made headlines. John Anderson died on August 7, 1992, at age 69 from a heart attack. Sam Flint was born on October 19, 1882, and appeared as the county sheriff in Psycho in 1960 when he was 72 years old. His gravelly voice and solemn demeanor lent him gravitas in dozens of authority roles. But behind the calm exterior lay a man who had spent his youth as a drifter, only finding steady acting work well into his 40s. He married actress Ella Etheridge, and while publicly known for their professional loyalty, private letters revealed they lived almost entirely separate lives by the late 1950s. Flint had a notorious temper. He once stormed off a Republic Pictures set after an assistant touched his script notes without permission. Gossip columns of the 1940s briefly speculated on a secret gambling addiction, which may have forced him to take lower-paying roles. Despite his dignified image, Flint's Hollywood journey was one of quiet desperation and stubborn endurance. He died on October 17, 1980, 2 days before his 98th birthday, of natural causes. Alfred Hitchcock was born on August 13, 1899, and appeared briefly in Psycho 1960 at 61 in his trademark cameo. Though revered as the master of suspense, Hitchcock's personal life was steeped in unsettling control and manipulation. He famously tormented actress Tippi Hedren, isolating her, dictating her wardrobe, and allegedly sabotaging her career when she resisted his advances, a scandal she publicly revealed decades later. He maintained obsessive relationships with his blonde leads, frequently crossing lines between direction and psychological domination. His marriage to Alma Reville was often described as one-sided, with rumors of his infidelities and fixation on fictional characters replacing emotional intimacy. Several female staff described him as emotionally abusive, and stories circulated of on-set tantrums, backhanded insults, and retaliatory casting decisions. Despite these dark chapters, his genius was undeniable. Hitchcock died of kidney failure on April 29, 1980, at the age of 80. Virginia Gregg was born on March 6, 1916, and voiced the chilling, unseen character of Norma Bates in Psycho in 1960 at age 44. Though uncredited, her vocal work haunted audiences, layering the film's tension with eerie maternal dominance. Behind her calm, matronly exterior, Gregg battled deep insecurity about her physical appearance, which relegated her to typecast radio roles and invisible work. She was reportedly devastated when Hitchcock chose not to credit her contribution, something she privately called the curse of being useful but unwanted. Her marriage ended after infidelity rumors emerged, and she later lived alone with a series of failed engagements. Gregg developed a quiet dependence on sleeping pills, and friends noticed increasing reclusiveness in the 70s. Though respected, she was often bitter about being overlooked, once saying, "They remember the scream, not the woman who gave it breath." She died of lung cancer on September 15, 1986, at age 70. Ted Knight was born on December 7, 1923, and was 37 when he played an uncredited deputy in Psycho 1960. While later beloved for his role as pompous Ted Baxter, his early years were plagued by rejection, debt, and volatile outbursts. Known for his booming voice and comedic timing, Knight also had a darker side. Rumors on the set of Mary Tyler Moore described him as ego-driven, frequently storming off over minor script changes and clashing with co-stars. He had a long-standing feud with Gavin MacLeod, allegedly fueled by Knight's jealousy over screen time and popularity. His marriage suffered under the weight of infidelity scandals, with tabloids in the late 70s linking him to a much younger production assistant. Despite public denial, the affair reportedly caused a year-long separation. Privately, Knight battled colon cancer while hiding a mounting gambling addiction that left him nearly bankrupt. He died on August 26, 1986, at 62 from the disease. Don Ross remains an enigmatic figure in Hollywood lore, born on April 4, 1920, and appearing briefly uncredited as a mechanic in Psycho 1960 at around age 40. His career was a quiet one, peppered with small, often uncredited parts that barely scratched the surface of stardom. However, beneath the unassuming exterior lay a man with a troubled past. Rumored to have been involved in underworld connections in Los Angeles, Ross was whispered about in casting circles as someone who used intimidation to secure roles for himself and others. Off-camera, his personal life was equally turbulent. Accounts suggest multiple failed marriages, each ending amid allegations of infidelity and financial disputes. Some sources claim Ross struggled with alcoholism and volatile temper tantrums, leading to on-set clashes that ultimately blacklisted him from more prominent productions. His withdrawal from acting in the late 60s is shrouded in mystery, with rumors hinting at a move to Mexico to escape debts and threats. He passed away on January 15, 2011, at 90. Robert Osborne was born on May 3, 1932, and appeared in Psycho in 1960 at age 28 as an uncredited background man. Though his role was negligible, Osborne would later rise to prominence as the genteel face of Turner Classic Movies, the custodian of Hollywood's golden age. But behind the warm voice and immaculate suits lay a man guarded by layers of secrecy. A lifelong bachelor, Osborne never publicly acknowledged his sexuality during a time when being openly gay in Hollywood could end a career. Insiders whispered of a decades-long relationship with a Hollywood publicist, hidden from the press under strict discretion. Earlier in his career, Osborne tried to act but was reportedly told by Lucille Ball, who mentored him, that he lacked the bite needed for stardom. Some called him emotionally distant and controlling in private settings. His obsessive perfectionism occasionally strained working relationships, and he was known to rewrite scripts for TCM intros last minute, berating staff for minor errors. He died on March 6, 2017, at age 84 from natural causes, taking many secrets with him. Jeanette Nolan was born on December 30, 1911, and lent her voice to Norma Bates in Psycho 1960 at 49, joining Virginia Gregg and Paul Jasmine in creating one of cinema's most disturbing maternal presences. A powerful actress with a Shakespearean pedigree, Nolan's public image was that of a professional stalwart. But within theatrical circles, she was known for her ruthlessness in securing roles, allegedly undermining younger actresses by leaking damaging gossip or rewriting scenes to reduce their lines. Though married to actor John McIntyre, the couple's relationship was said to be business first. They often lived apart, and industry insiders whispered of Nolan's affairs with two prominent directors during the 1950s. She was estranged from one of her children following a legal dispute over royalties from a voiceover contract. While she kept her reputation largely intact, Nolan's later years were marked by resentment toward a changing industry that no longer revered her gravitas. She died of a stroke on June 5, 1998, aged 86. Who is your favorite character in Psycho? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.